Still doing my catch-up videos, so this is a review for A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L'Engle. This was written back in 1962. This is a classic. Apparently it's a children's classic, but some of the ideas and concepts that are in this book, I don't think kids today that this is aimed for would get, to be honest. I think something we have lost, perhaps, with our children's books now, is they're too black and white. And it's not until you hit sort of the slightly older end of the 8 to 12 bracket, the likes of Harry Potter and that, where things start getting a little bit more ambiguous in children's stories. Don't get me wrong, there are some children's books out there that do the ambiguous, but I think a lot of the mainstream stuff is very black and white. Everything's very clear. With this one, it tackles some big themes, really, in quite an unusual way. This is a sci-fi / fantasy story involving telepathy, although that's never really actually mentioned as a word, and follows Meg, her younger brother Charles Wallace, who ironically is the little boy on the front here, and a friend called Calvin O'Keen, as they try and rescue Meg and Charles's father. They're assisted by three very unusual individuals called Mrs. Whatsit, Mrs. Which, and Mrs. Who, and end up travelling through a wrinkle in time and space to battle a big bad, a big evil that threatens to engulf everything it touches. The overall driving theme is love. Love is the key in this story, whether that's the love of a mother, of a brother and sister, father to children and vice versa, or the great all-encompassing love of goodness, light and God. And I have to say, I enjoyed this story. It took me a little while to get my head around it because the blurb on my book states very clearly that it's about Charles Wallace, whereas the book is told from Meg's point of view. And I would say for a good half of this book, Meg follows Charles. We see events through Meg's eyes, but it's Charles that is engaged in the plot, bringing it forward, making decisions. And he's a young, very young kid. You know, I'm going to put like 4 at the most. But he's not the usual 4-year-old. You know, let me stipulate that right from the start. And it's not until quite a bit later on that Meg starts to step up, make decisions, and come to the front of the story. So that was certainly unusual. It was very much like Watson watching Holmes, that kind of thing going on. But the descriptions in here of the worlds that the children visit is pretty beautiful. These worlds are very imaginative. Nothing in them is instantly relatable. And even when we do visit the dark world that's been covered by the black thing, as it's called in the book, it's tonally very different from our world. It's not a world we would instantly feel at home in, even though it looks the same and feels kind of the same. There are streets with houses on, there's children playing and all that, but it's the way that the author tells it that makes you feel uncomfortable, and I think that's really, really good. I have to say, this ends very abruptly. I got to the last chapter and I thought, how on earth is this going to wrap up? It does wrap up. This is a complete story in itself. It tells Meg's story, and that's great if you just wanted to read one. But it is left at such a point that I think a lot of children's books used to do, where you felt there could be more to be told with other characters in another situation, and that's certainly how this book finishes. And the fact that there are 5 books in the Wrinkle in Time series, I'm pretty certain it's 5, suggests that there is more to be told in this story. I was chatting to my husband last night because I finished it, and I was saying about the film version that's coming out. Are they going to discuss God and love and Jesus in the way it crops up in the book. And that's not a big theological discussion. It is mentioned. It is part of these characters' lives. And that's about it. And he actually said she's a Christian author. And lots of people say she's the female version of C.S. Lewis. And I can see the parallels there. Her story involves love overcoming darkness. Light winning, basically. And in the Christian faith, God is love. He is the ultimate love. So, for me, I can see the parallels between the likes of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe stories and The Wrinkle in Time. But I'll be interested to see how much the film takes that approach. So I'll have to wait and see until I see that to actually compare the two properly, which would be nice. But I'm hoping they don't shy away from that central theme, because that's what it's about. But Wrinkle in Time, if you've not read it, like I have, and you've approached it as an adult, this is not a traditional children's book. You're not going to sit and read this and think, oh my God, this is boring, or oh my goodness, this is just so straightforward and simple. It's not one of those. Yes, it's an adventure story with children, but there's a lot going on here, and the way it's told and the way the story is woven around the characters is very, very clever. And so you're not going to be bored by it. You're not going to be sitting there going, this is dull. It's a very good read in its own right. So I would highly recommend A Wrinkle in Time to all readers, regardless of your age and regardless of your faith or not. Like I say, God is mentioned. It's not thrust in your face. It's just mentioned. It's just part of the characters. That's all. So do not be put off by that. Particularly if some people go, oh, it's a Christian author, don't read this. No. Do read this, because it's a very good fantasy sci-fi story. It's very imaginative. It's so clever. But it has a great overarching theme that love will win. And I like that. It's a very positive book. It's a very hopeful book, and there is a happy ever after. But there's also the promise that there's more to come. So, Wrinkle in Time. Have you read it? Did you read it as a child and have reread it as an adult? What did you think? Did you have different thoughts? Second time reading it as a grown-up. Let me know if you're going to go see the film, and obviously we can all compare notes afterwards. As always, social media links are in the description box down below, as is the link to my new book blog, where I do discuss A Wrinkle in Time, and I probably mention a few things that I haven't mentioned in this video, and it's probably a little bit more coherent. Feel free to go and check it out if you want. As always, thank you very much for watching, and happy reading. Bye.